Good afternoon. This is Dr. Don Ketterhagen, Dr. Don on Demand, as I'm frequently called. Listen, I wanted to give you guys a couple of choices in deciding what to do when you're going from point A to point B. There's a lot of different things. As we discussed before, no one really knows where they're going to end up unless they have a plan to succeed. So let's take a look at some of those techniques that different people use to succeed and see if any of them apply to you. So here is where we start. I'd like to think that when one goes to school for a long time, like I did, that there are some varied choices, very good choices as well. However, school tends to do a thing on people that isn't really fair. It narrows their choices many times. Specifically, if you go off to college and pursue a profession, let's say being a lawyer or a dentist or a doctor or an accountant and so forth, your employment is pretty much dictated by whatever it is that you went to school for and created a significant amount of time and money investment in yourself. It's almost a little bit unfair to yourself not to give it a chance, but realize that you were pretty much limited by your education. So if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a merchant thief, rich man, poor man, beggar man, priest, your education has dictated a lot of the results that you've had up to this point. And so one has to take a look, step back, and decide, really, was the education worth it? Probably, maybe not, definitely not. And so when one has made that decision, they need to take a look at some options. If you're 66 years old, your options are not the same. You're not going to play professional tennis or basketball or football. However, there are many things that you can do, drawing on some of the um, things that you've learned during your career and during your education. Some of the things that people do may actually give them some career changes. You have your avocations and hobbies. Some people like to fish. Maybe they become a charter boat captain or a fishing guide. Some people like to fly. And so flying, probably not commercially, but probably for different purposes, taking photographs from the air for real estate. That was more common before drones. But flying is certainly an expensive hobby, but it certainly can be remunerative if you turn that hobby into a business of some kind. Boating can be a hobby. Again, we talked about fishing. There are other things that boaters can do that turn their avocation or hobby into a career. They can write about the boating. They can talk before groups. There's a gentleman that gave a talk to us in the PGI Association not too long ago, whose boating turned into a web page, turned into a business, talking about the tides and the buoy heights in different areas up and down the coast of the United States, and especially in Florida. So the same can be said about traveling. Perhaps you'd like to write about your travel, make suggestions, turn your traveling into a career. There are numerous places where you can become a travel agent, whether or not you work for yourself or work for others. That certainly can be a avocation turned into a career. Designing, perhaps you've got a special talent for home design, perhaps landscaping design. All of these things can lead to second careers. You just have to decide that that's something you want to do. Technology, of course, can be a good source of additional income or additional careers for you after retirement and perhaps after a job change. There are numerous people that write blogs like myself. I'm not particularly technology oriented. In fact, this is about the third time I've tried to record this today. But so far, so good this time around. Anyway, this technology can certainly lead to blogging rather, with blog pages that have affiliate links, things related to the blog and so forth. You can teach coaching programs. You can teach people how to do any of the things that I mentioned before. You can teach them how to fish. You can teach them how to boat. You can tell them about traveling. All of these things and other hobbies, of course, can lead to second careers. Then there are the more conventional home businesses. Of course, we all know that anything can be sold, and so everything is possible in sales. There's coaching. You can sell your experience. There's writing. You can tell about your experience. Ebooks. We've got a friend who writes Gothic novels and publishes them on Amazon, and so that has led her into a very nice career. There are voiceovers. If you have a decent voice, and people have suggested that I might have a decent voice for voiceover, that's something to look into. I've looked into it, haven't decided I wanted to do that. But I've taken perhaps a talent of mine and looked at doing it. And that's what you have to do. You have to look at doing whatever your home business vocation might be. A lot of retired folks, especially, get into the handyman business. I was looking at the green sheet in today's paper, and there's probably 3 or 4 columns of different people that have become handyman, and they turn their talents, turn their puttering habits, if you will, into significant income by doing small chores around the house for people who can't. There's a new service out called Uber, which turns your love of driving into a lucrative business. And despite what some of the cities are trying to do to Uber drivers, I think that's a good alternative. Don't know how that all works, although I'm looking into it. And of course, there are the other things. You can develop a home watch business. You can develop a dog watch service or a pet sitting service. All of these things turn avocations into home businesses. Cleaning, of course, can be a good home business. Sales possibilities in other business ventures include the network marketing industry, and you can either represent a single company and work for them from home, or you can represent a product category, for instance, health and wellness, and represent many different companies with good products. And additionally, you can represent a variety of different product designs and categories and select one or more and represent them. So we're going to try and get back to the home screen here. There we are. Anyway, those are just some thoughts of mine. I'm not trying to be categorically complete, but the opportunities are out there. And so categorize, make a list, decide which ones you really think you might be suited for, and investigate it, explore it. There's lots of places to do that, especially on the net. So this is Dr. Don On Demand. Enjoyed talking with you. Look forward to talking with you in the near future.